Hello, and welcome back. Estrella here with another video about, you guessed it, vampires. Today we dive into Rosalie Hale and traditional vampire lore. Figured to do a more broad topic and narrow it down as we go along. And I hope you enjoy the video, so sit back and relax and let's get into it. Wait, before we do that, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and hit that noti bell so you don't miss a video from us. Okay, now we can get into it. The figure of the vampire has long been associated with seduction, death, and moral transgression. Traditional vampire lore, drawn from Eastern European folklore and codified in 19th century Gothic literature, depicts the vampire as a predatory, undead being driven by insatiable hunger and often remarked by physical decay. In contrast, Rosalie Hale from Twilight by Stephanie Meyer represents a reimagining of vampirism through the lens of beauty, agency, and emotional complexity. Comparing Rosalie Hale to traditional vampire lore reveals a significant transformation in how femininity, power, and monstrosity are culturally understood. In traditional folklore, vampires typically arise from corruption or improper burial. In Slavic traditions, the vampire might be a restless corpse, a sinner, or a person cursed in life. Transformation is rarely framed as salvation, rather, it signals spiritual disorder. Vampirism, often contagious and indiscriminate, spreading through bite or supernatural affliction. Rosalie Hale's transformation differs sharply. Born in the early 20th century, she is assaulted and left for dead before turning into a vampire by Carlisle Cullen to save her life. Her transformation is not punishment, but a rescue. Unlike folkloric vampires who are often morally suspect even before death, Rosalie portrayed as a victim of violence. This shift reframes vampirism. In traditional lore, becoming a vampire confirms one's separation from humanity. In Rosalie's case, vampirism preserves her life while complicating her humanity. The emphasis moves from curse to intervention. Traditional vampires frequently display signs of death. In Eastern European accounts, they may appear bloated, ruddy from blood consumption, or corpse-like when exhumed. Their bodies are unnatural and unsettling. Even when capable of appearing seductive, their true nature is grotesque. Rosalie Hale, by contrast, is defined by extraordinary beauty. Her physical perfection is repeatedly emphasized. Immortality freezes her at the height of youthful attractiveness. Rather than signaling decay, her vampirism enhances its aesthetic details. Rather than signaling decay, her vampirism enhances aesthetic ideals. The monstrous body becomes an aspirational one. This transformation reflects modern cultural values surrounding youth and beauty. In folklore, the vampire body is a sign of corruption. In contemporary fiction, the vampire body is perfected and immortalized. Traditional vampire lore emphasizes uncontrollable appetite. Vampires arise from the grave to drink the blood of family members or neighbors. Their hunger is instinctual and destructive, and is often lacking psychological depth. They are threats to communal stability. Rosalie, like her other members of the Cullen family, chose to abstain from human blood. She adopts a vegetarian lifestyle, feeding only on animals. Although she retains vampire strength and capacity for violence, she exercises restraint. Importantly, Rosalie's relationship to hunger is shaped by her personality. Unlike some of her family members, she does not romanticize vampirism. She resents aspects of her immortal condition, particularly her inability to bear children. This interior conflict introduces moral and emotional nuance absent in traditional lore. In folklore, hunger defines the vampire. In Rosalie's narrative, choice defines the vampire. Traditional vampire lore often reflects anxieties about female sexuality. Female vampires in 19th century literature, such as the archetypal seductive predator, embody dangerous erotic power. Their allure threatens male authority and social order. Earlier folkloric traditions sometimes depict female revenants as grotesque and maternal threats. Rosalie complicates this pattern. Before her transformation, her life is shaped by 1930s gender expectations: beauty, marriage, and motherhood. And after becoming a vampire, she gains the immense physical power and independence. She avenges her assault by killing her attackers, reclaiming agency in a way unavailable to her human self. However, her story also reveals tension. Rosalie deeply mourns in her inability to experience motherhood. This longing ties to traditional feminine roles even as her vampire strength subverts them. She is neither purely empowered nor purely victimized. Unlike folkloric female vampires who threaten social order through seduction or chaos, Rosalie ultimately seeks stability, family, and protection of human life. Her power is integrated into a moral framework rather than positioned as inherently destabilizing. Traditional vampires are solitary or parasitic figures. They prey upon their communities and must be hunted or destroyed. Folkloric responses include stalking, decapitation, and ritual burial to restore order. Rosalie, however, belongs to a chosen family. The Cullen household operates as a cooperative unit that integrates into human society while concealing its supernatural nature. Rather than being hunted by villagers, Rosalie attends school, forms alliances, and protects loved ones. This shift reflects modern narrative preferences for integration over eradication. The vampire is no longer necessarily an outsider who must be destroyed, but can become a part of a moral community. Traditional vampire lore often presents vampirism as a fixed state. The vampire is undead and morally alien. Redemption is rare or non existent. Rosalie Hale exists within a moral universe shaped by personal choice. She is capable of compassion, resentment, jealousy, loyalty, and love. Her identity is not reducible to blood consumption. Instead, vampirism becomes one element of a multifaceted character. The emphasis on interiority marks on a crucial difference. Folkloric vampires function as symbols of fear of death, fear of disease, or fear of social disorder. Rosalie functions as a character exploring themes of trauma, agency, beauty, and longing. The comparison between Rosalie Hale and traditional vampire lore reveals the evolution of the vampire from a symbol of corruption and communal threat to a vehicle for exploring identity and empowerment. Traditional vampires arise from curse or contagion, embody physical decay, and operate as predators outside moral society. Rosalie arises from rescue, embodies idealized beauty, and navigates complex ethical and emotional terrain within a family structure. While both share core elements, immortality, blood consumption, supernatural strength, their meanings diverge sharply. The traditional vampire warns against transgression and disorder. Rosalie Hale reflects the contemporary concerns about autonomy, trauma recovery, and the negotiation of power within modern femininity. Through this transformation, the vampire shifts from monstrous outsider to morally complex insider, mirroring changing cultural attitudes towards gender, agency, and what it means to be both powerful and human. And I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. How something can be depicted as monstrous can also be perceived to be beautiful, empowering, and just magnificent. And once again, don't forget to hit like, share, subscribe, and hit that noti bell before you go. And as always, stay safe, polite, and courteous out there. And remember, stay anomalous.